guys, welcome to our English lesson for today. Now this is a lesson on free verse poetry. And our title just says, I'm free to do what I want. And this is an informative PowerPoint about identifying the features of free verse poetry. And I think the clue there is in the title there, free verse. Well, our LA is just to recognise the features of free verse poetry, and it's also to have a go at writing our own. And our success criteria, well, I want you to know that not all poetry has to include rhymes. I want you to look for imagery in the poems, and I also want you to know that the poet uses longer or shorter lines to create impact. Now, treasure. What do you think is in this box? It says, go on, let your imagination run wild. I want you to pause the video and just have a wild guess or have a think about what might be in this box. Okay, well, let's see. What do you think is in this box? I'm sure if we were in class, we'd have some amazing bits of imagination what could be in this box. But let's have a look. So we've got a person called Kit Wright who has written a free verse poem about the magic box. And his goes, I will put in the box the swish of a silk sari on a summer night, fire from the nostrils of a Chinese dragon, the tip of a tongue touching a tooth. I will put in the box a snowman with a rumbling belly, a sip of the bluest water from Lake Lucerne, a leaping spark from an electric fish. I shall surf in my box on the great high rolling breakers of the wild Atlantic, then wash ashore on a yellow beach, the colour of the sun. So again, this is a poem called The Magic Box, but there is no rhyming in there, and really it's just lots and lots of wonderful describing words, and it really makes you think about what is inside that box, but there's no real structure to it. So on the left hand side it says, can you find these poetic devices? And it says here, so these are some of the things that we've done already. It says alliteration, onomatopoeia, rhythm, repetition, and finally the use of the senses. Now firstly, what is alliteration? Or what is onomatopoeia? What is rhythm? What is repetition? What is the use of senses? Have a pause of the video and think if you recognise any of these words on the left hand side. Okay, well, firstly, so we've got alliteration. Alliteration is when we have the same sound starting our word and when it's repeated maybe 2 or 3 times. So for example, alliteration, we've got the swish of a silk sari, or we've got the tip of a tongue touching tooth. So it's got the t sound, or in the first one it's got the s sound, the silk. So again, it doesn't have to be the same letter, it's just got to be the same sound. Next we've got onomatopoeia. And onomatopoeia is when in our writing, we say the sound. For example, boom, bang, clap. Or in this example, we've got swish, the swish of a silk sari. Next, we've got repetition. So repetition is just repeating. So we've got I will put in the box, I will put in the box. So just saying the same thing. And then finally, we've got the use of senses. So again, what can I see? What can I smell on the tip of the tongue? Using all of our senses. So let's see, which typical poetic device is not, or is definitely not here? Rhyme. So none of these words rhyme, and rhyme is absent from this poem. So that means that it's just not there. And this style of poetry is called free verse. So free verse may contain many of the poetic devices you have learned about, but it doesn't include rhyme. And it can also be used to turn a story into a poem. So free verse, free choice. So go on then, it is now your turn. So have a go at writing your own free verse poem on your chosen topic. So obviously the past few days we have been getting lots and lots of words to build up our vocabulary to have a go at this. So in free verse, it is really important to know that rhyme does not need to be inside of our poem. It can be, but also it doesn't have to be because this is free. This is your choice to create your own poem. So let's just have a quick recap on what free verse is about. So remember, free verse doesn't have to rhyme, so this makes it quite an easy poetic style to use. However, it's key to remember, if you do want yours to rhyme, that is absolutely fine, because it is your choice. That is what free verse is all about. Next, use your theme, what you've been choosing, your topic. I want you to write and gather some ideas. And I want you to use your knowledge of poetic devices to write phrases in which grip the reader's imagination and create a wonderful picture in their head. So remember, your onomatopoeia, your repetition, your alliteration, all of these are brilliant poetic devices to use in your writing. So now I'm going to move you over to my iPad, where we can read my example of my free verse poem to give you guys a bit of help on where to start. Okay then guys, so this is my poem. And this is called, so it's called Mr. Hancock's poem, but it's called A Spellbook of Dreams. So it starts off by saying, a spellbook of dreams, conjuring cave black flight, a dazzling blizzard, stars whirling, echoes last. A spellbook of dreams, summoning millions of mollusks, bristly barnacles, rustling crustaceans. A spellbook of dreams, unfolding into vivid adventures, ineffable magic, lost treasures. A spellbook of dreams, fading into space, distant rememberings, astronaut thunderbolter, dreamer. So in this, I have got repetition. I keep repeating the title of my free verse poem. A spellbook of dreams, a spellbook of dreams. Have I got some alliteration in here? Well, I've got millions of mollusks, bristly barnacles. I've got my alliteration there. I have got so much key vocabulary in here. I've got a word from the words collector here, ineffable, which means that words cannot describe how amazing it is. So ineffable, I've got vivid, I've got bristly, rustling, these wonderful words that I have picked out from my books that I have read. And again, yours does not have to be as long as mine, but just have a go using your topic and give it a go writing your own free verse poems. And there's one more thing, guys, before I let you get off. I have chosen just not to go all the way to the end of my lines. I have split mine up into smaller lines, just to make it that little bit more interesting. And I've moved it around my page just to structure it that little bit different and to make it look that little bit more interesting. So have a think about the structure of which you want your poem to be in. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Remember, there is no right or wrong in this. This is just your ideas about your favourite topics.